BJ from Morgan Gumbo. I've got my guest, the Podfather himself, Stephen Buonocore, and I am drinking beer because I'm celebrating. I backed a game, and it looks like it's going to fund Egizia. Tell us all about it, Stephen.
Easily funding. In fact, just so everyone who's listening, cheers, just so that everybody gets to make sure that they get a chance to get this game. We're literally, the Kickstarter literally closes down in 2.5 hours at like midnight East Coast time here on Sunday night.
So it's a Gumbo first. We are celebrating the close. I love it.
We're celebrating the close of Egizia Shifting Sands. Now, what is this? First of all, Egizia is a grail game to many. It's been out of print for about 10 years at this point, quite a bit of time. And it was one of those really, at the time, about 10 years ago, very big medium weight Euros that came out out of the design teams of Europe. Egizia Shifting Sands, you are traveling down the Nile and you have to take certain actions as you get down the Nile. The very cool, interesting mechanic of this is if you travel down to a certain extent, you can never travel back up to do something that you passed.
Ooh,
and every person can only be on like one space. There are certain spaces that multiple people can be on. So you have to make those hard decisions. Like, I really need to do something that's way down at the bottom, but I really want to travel that far? Because then everybody else is going to take multiple actions before me, after me. So I might not want to do that. So this is a game of resource management, worker placement, and the really cool thing about this, traveling down the Nile to take the actions to optimize the building of the pyramids and the obelisks and all of these things in Egypt. You're trying to build all of the great monuments of Egypt. We're really excited about this. It was a game that has been out of print and people really wanted back. So we went out and reached out to the original designers, and they helped us do some extra work to redevelop the game. And a good friend of mine, Brian Burzak, helped us out as well. And it's very exciting. We're in the last 2 hours. So if you want this, please go back this on Kickstarter. If you can put a link there, Stephen or BJ,
a link. The Name Father's already got a link in the chat.
Oh, great!
Directly to the Kickstarter, and you got just a couple of hours left to get in on this Kickstarter.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm not even here because of that. I'm here because you and I wanted to get together again. But it just so happens that we're ending the Kickstarter on the same night, so it's kind of a cool thing. And
Dan says, pretty stoked to finally have a copy of Egizia coming my way. See, he's already backed it, Stephen.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dan. Thank you so much. And the interesting thing here about the whole thing is that if you back the Kickstarter, because there's fans of this, like Dan, who's been a fan of this probably for a while. He's been looking for the game. If you back the Kickstarter, you can play the game the original way, and we have a new redeveloped way to play the game. So it's a 2-sided game board. So making it a true second edition. So if you want to be able to play it in both ways, then you want to get in on the Kickstarter. Otherwise, it'll be in retail probably around the November, December timeframe, but it'll be the second edition only version of the game.
Interesting. And that's Egizia. We haven't seen it in a long time. The prices have been kind of crazy. I love the fact that you guys are catering both to the fans who want the classic edition, but also they're going to have this, some of these new things. What can you tell us about how you guys are plussing up the edition?
The plussing up is basically the redevelopment that we've done and several new cards. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that we added in. And if you take a look at the milestones that we're showing on the Kickstarter, we don't, in a lot of the Kickstarters we've done so far, we're not doing stretch goals. We're doing milestones. So every day you're getting to see a new portion of the game that we have redeveloped. We put out the rules there already, but you're getting to see, okay, we're adding this in, we're putting this in, we're putting this in. So it's not a stretch goal thing. We don't like, if we get to X, we're going to give you this. No, we're going to show you the game as has already been developed and unveil a little bit each time. The main thing is that redevelopment that we did basically rebalances and adds other little elements of the game to make it more of a modern game. But of course, fans like to play original games, so we have both games in there if you're a fan of the original game. Yeah, for the Kickstarter backers.
Some of the milestones are pretty cool. You guys are doing some UV coding, it looks like.
Yeah, things like that as well. Sure. I mean, those are the little things that like just kind of like kick a game up or kick the production value up. I always like the ones that truly explain that, okay, we're going to add these extra cards in. We're going to add these extra pieces into the game to make the game a little more interesting for a gamer as well. So a little bit of everything in there, and that's kind of the way that we're structuring our Kickstarters these days.
And this is one of the partnerships that you have with one of those publishers? No,
this is one we literally went out and we went out, found the original designers, said we'd love to bring this game back, and they were very excited to be working with us. So no, this is a there was a design already, of course, and we then took that design, developed it back and forth with them over the course of about 1.5 years until we said, oh, we like this as a second edition, so let's bring this one out. So this is sort of a grassroots that we took on ourselves.